Good evening, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. So, as it is required for all sessions, I want to draw your attention to the disclaimer that's on the slide here. Take a moment to read through that. And then we're going to breeze through the next slide where it talks about completing your survey. So, if you have attended similar sessions, if you want to go to the next slide, this is just instructions for you to make sure that you are able to complete the survey at the end of this session. So, with that, I want to jump in. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It's such a pleasure to be on the stage here with my colleagues. I want to start off by saying, as I think about this topic, the future of finance, and my role at EY, I lead finance transformation strategy and vision for the Americas at EY. I spend a lot of time with CFOs talking about the questions, the challenges that distress them on a day-to-day basis. And primarily that deals with how do they make decisions better and faster. Now, that's easy said than done. And if you put it into perspective, we want to make sure that we talk about how they answer for some of these challenges. If we want to kind of look at the slide here, I want to call out for you a quick reality check. By show of hands, how many of you think that your organization is AI ready today? If you want to put up your hands, one, you are using AI to drive decisions actively today. Oh, two hands, three hands. You are pivoting towards using AI, but you haven't figured out how to scale AI as of today. Oh, that's great, almost 80%. And how about the ones that are still trying to figure out how to interpret the data and what the performance was for the last quarter and the last year? Okay, I got some laughs, so I appreciate that. And so that really, the last two things is really the reality of most of the organizations we work with today. It is that gap that we see between AI ambition and the data reality. And if you think about that for a minute, the two stats that here are very telling, right? 70% of the CFOs say that the data blocks timely insights. So that should not be a surprise. What is more surprising is the stat that follows. 80% of that finance data sits outside of finance. And that is the reality which creates that disconnect we talked about and the raising of the hand points towards. So, again, if I take that a little bit forward, it should not be a surprise that data, hence, is the new center of gravity. I'm sure over the days that you've been here in the conference, you've heard that loud and clear. Data is the one that matters. So clearly the slide talks about data being in the center of gravity. But what I want to point your attention to is what the picture is changing from a finance op model perspective is how do you reimagine that operating model? You start with the left-hand side where the typical transaction owners, the process owners, are now evolving into data product owners. They own the domains, the revenues, the claims. In this case, I work a lot in the health and life sciences sector, cost and pricing, and they are generating data. And the goal here is not simply to generate the data, but to generate the data in a way such that it is correct at the source to begin with. So you're not spending all this time as you're automating the process at the back end, reconciling and coming up with manual interventions. That sounds good on paper, but if you take that one step forward and you look at the center of this chart, which talks about governance, and this is where finance's role has been changing dramatically for organizations which have been able to do this well, is it's all well and good where you're able to describe the data. But if you don't put the governance at the center of the equation, where finance owns the definitions, the quality, and the vigilance over the data, that's when this operating model starts to fall apart. So that's your foundation. That connects the data creators with the governance. So now if you have the foundation right, you start to look at the right side of that equation where you can clearly drive insights from a value perspective, but you're looking at the value and the compliance functions coming together. And that's where the real-time decision making becomes a reality. So if in order to bring this whole picture together, the one big takeaway I want to leave you with is you're making sure that your traditional transaction process owners are becoming those data product owners that are making sure the data is coming in right first, because AI can only scale with better data. Bad data equal to bad results. No surprise here for the audience. Then you want to drive hyper automation, which is making sure that you're moving towards more autonomous but more touchless processing with specific exception handling. And then the last lever for that is, okay, with all that said, you're then enabling finance to be the value orchestrator, to really drive decisions with the insights in hand. So one may pause and say, well, all well and good, it looks good on a slide. Does it really work? And so to answer that question, we wanted to share a real life example with Shivang and Rashmi of the work we've done at Humana and how we brought this future and made this a reality. So I'll turn it over to you, Shivang.
So starting with introduction, Shivang Patel, I'm a director for data strategy, innovation, and AI at Humana for finance. Been in the healthcare industry from a payer side for around 18 years, and been in the financial systems space for around 12 years. And background, I have a specialization in computer science and a specialization in finance. So I've been in the cusp space for a very long time. And I'd like to start with, yes, we talk a lot about technology, right? I do want to ground us. I think one of the first things, before we even look at the slide and we look at the numbers on there, is the intent to make intentional investment in a finance data strategy. I think that's the key. And yes, technology is a big part of it, but if you have an intentional finance data strategy, that helps you drive a lot of it. It helps you drive your architecture, it helps you drive your organization, it helps you drive your data, it helps you drive everything, right? Everything that I'm going to talk about. So first and foremost, what we did is we invested intentfully, we invested people, we invested resources to set that data strategy. And my partner here from EY, she'll go into the details of it, and I'm going to ground us in the foundations on what that strategy stands on, right? So diving into it, on your screen, you have number 1 and number 2. That talks about, that's not as much technology, that's more about process. That's more about governance, that's more about organizational structure and processes, right? 3, 4, and 5, I'm going to use Bhavna's raise of hand. How many of you heard the word context today in different keynotes or meet anyone? I'm kidding. So that kind of forms somewhat your context, right? A focus on context. And then going into, as a result, we get an AI-ready, finance-first data strategy going into that, right? So I'm going to talk about that. So starting with that, once you have a data strategy, the first and foremost is your finance data governance, right? So data governance, we all do it today, but we all do it with what we have, the technology stack we have, or the ways we have today, or what we have done in the past. This is talking about doing it, and we have heard this in the keynotes today. It's with doing it with AI in mind, with context in mind, and different technologies in mind. So going forward, we have to think about data governance differently. So we can enhance or we can create and holistically, end to end, right? Second is unified architecture. So the data strategy gives you an architecture. I'm not going to get into the architecture, but based on that strategy in my role, I intentfully look at all the systems and design holistically going in, because that's how you can move your strategy and you can move the needle on your strategy to get to that number 6. We all want to get to number 6, but we can't skip. We have to take all the other numbers together to get there, right? So that's the key. So once you have that holistic, I'm going to use the word holistic, complete, use whatever you want. You have to do end to end. That's when the number 3, 4, and 5 come in. Talk about master data, reference data management. If there are people here from finance background, I'm sure you don't do any VLOOKUPs in Excel or have no reference data, right? But sarcasm aside, it's very important to manage your reference data, especially with finance in context. That's going to lead into your controls. That's going to lead into the quality of the data you need for finance. So master data, reference data, intentful technology selections, intentful part of your architecture design and governance, right? So then going into metadata, DQ, and controls. it's not necessarily building over it, it's obviously complementary. The more richer metadata you have, metadata equal to any guesses context, right? So it's part of it. So it's going to help you build that. More data quality rules based on data quality engines that you get in any modern platform today. And then controls. You cannot do finance without controls. You have context. I can guarantee you it's going to help you build your controls in the future much better and much more robust. Going into unified semantic model, you've done all the hard work, and now you can now derive the benefits. If you have a controlled, intentful semantic model, you can increase your reusability, you can increase your quality because you'll have the same numbers. But you have to be intentful. That's where the 1 and 2 come in to help you make number 5 better, right? And then lastly, if you do everything right, and intentfully, you're going to build a lot of context over a period of time. And hence, you'll have an AI ready, speed to market. All the good things that we dream about are going to happen if you do 1 through 5 and get to number 6. So that's, I think, without technology, but those are the foundations. Technology all exists, but sometimes we forget the intent in creating the structure, which will drive your transformation, which will drive your finance forward. So with that, I'll hand it over to Rashmi, who will take us further.
Thanks, Shivang. Hi, everyone. My name is Rashmi. I'm a senior manager at EY in the finance tech consulting practice. I know it's me and my last slide sitting between you and your happy hour, so I will only take 5 minutes and just quickly cover this, right? So you all heard about strategy. It's still a paper exercise, like we defined everything on paper. Now we have taken it further at Humana and starting to execute it. So I'm going to just break it down, right? So you have the strategy now. How do you go about execution? So I'm going to just break it down. How are we doing it? What are we doing? And why are we doing it? So when it comes to how, we have been very intentful. So you could just like, if you start going through your data transformation journey, we all know it's going to take you years and years. So when I say intentful, we wanted to prioritize the use cases that are of significance to finance, that drive value, that drive business outcome. So we have identified a few use cases. Of course, we work in the CFO org on what do you want to see? And I'll talk about those use cases in a minute. But then where is Databricks in all of this, right? So at the core of this data transformation is a modern data platform. And we are using Databricks for that. So Databricks is helping us get all the data in one place, standardize it, and make it usable for finance. Shivang talked about metadata. We are using Unity Catalog to make sure we keep the descriptions, the definitions. Bhavna talked about it. Finance has to drive those definitions. So we are tackling that. It's a, Shivang talked about architecture. It's a medallion architecture. You may have heard about it. You may already be implementing it. That is what we have chosen at Humana. And we always keep coming back to that target state architecture so we can govern not just these use cases, but everything else, because you're not going to stop the work that is going on once you have the strategy in place. But once you have the guardrails in place, that is what we are using the architecture for. So for these use cases, medallion architecture, the one thing I'm really excited about is semantic layer, right? We all heard semantic models. And why I'm excited about it? Because we are not doing the traditional BI semantic models. We are building the finance semantic layer in Databricks. So what is it going to do? And I don't know how many of you have built a semantic layer or are familiar with it. We heard about it in last 2 days a lot, right? So what are we trying to do with it? Finance, like Bhavna said, 80% of the data sits outside, but all the calculations that are finance specific, we are defining them in the semantic layer. So not like everybody who needs to report a KPI to whoever they need to report it to have to calculate it by themselves, because not two calculations are going to be alike, and then you run into the reconciliation nightmare. So I'm really excited about the semantic layer, finance specific semantic layer that we are building at Humana, and we are using Databricks for it. On top of that semantic layer, we have Power BI dashboards, because that's not going away. Your traditional reporting is there. But we have also started putting Genie on top, right? So we have set up some foundational capabilities there, and like our vision is we are going to just expand it. So that's the how part, right? The architecture, what's the approach, is the use case based approach, we want to drive some outcome. Now, what are those use cases, right? So for our CFO, they don't want to be reactive. They want to be proactive. So the first use case we are tackling is called a driver-based reporting. What's that's going to enable? It's going to give them visibility into the financial and operational drivers that are behind the business performance. So we, as data people, we like to talk about drill downs. So with that intention, they can drill down and really take thoughtful actions on what's driving this variance, rather than waiting for that annual report and say, oh, I missed my targets, or oh, I missed my budget, or this forecast was not right. So that is what we are trying to tackle when I say driver-based reporting. Other things, since it's Humana Healthcare, we are also looking into claims analytics, and there are many more use cases that we are trying to drive value. So think of it as, I'm not going to fix, get all the data into the data layer and then figure out what we want to do with it, but let's drive with intention, as I call it, the right-hand side of my architecture. Now, why are we doing it? Of course, our vision, we are not there where we want to be, right? So there is always an interim state before you get to the target state. So our vision, of course, is eventually we want all our finance leadership to have the data at tips of their hands, so they don't have to wait for analysts to answer a simple question that takes weeks, right? Like, that's the goal. I think we all want that target state and we all vision for it. So that's our goal. That's where we are going with finance, like fully self-service, and not just like Genie, but the advanced technology capabilities we heard today. And I was telling the team, like, what I'm most excited about, like when I talk about semantic layer and driving value, is the announcement they made about Genie ontology. I think that's going to be great, and we are really looking forward to bringing that in. But I think we've taken on this journey. It's going to be a multi-year journey. I think we all understand that, and there's no kidding about it. But that's the intent, right? So we've been very intentional about it, and that's where we just wanted to share our journey. And if you have been on a data transformation journey, be it for finance, and I guess like one last shout out I'll give to Humana is, finance is really driving transformation, right? So they are really pushing the enterprise to think about some of the things that you talked about, Shivang, right? Like metadata, reference data. Finance is really spearheading all of that. So I think we are very proud of the work we are doing, and we just want to share with you guys. If you have any questions or want to share any of your experiences, please, let us know, and we'll be happy to hear it. But I think we are at our almost at 20-minute mark. So I hope you found this useful. And yeah, one more minute and then happy hour. So, all right. Any questions?